The state appears through District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. Ms. Honeycutt appears in person in custody with her counsel, Mr. Stroud. We're set here today in this matter for the restitution hearing. Are we both ready to begin?
Yes.
All right. There hasn't been any negotiations or any stipulations?
No.
All right. And for the record, Mr. Schmidt did file a letter indicating that he spoke with his witness, who is Robert Otto, who owns a jewelry store in Spooner. I, a million years ago, represented him during his divorce. I can let you know that I like Mr. Otto, but I can rest assured I would not take his testimony any higher than any other person's testimony. And it is all based upon credibility. But I didn't get an objection from you, Mr. Stroud, or Ms. Honeycutt. I'm going to tell you, and I think you can even ask Mr. Otto, I am a very blunt, cut to the chase kind of person, and I see facts as they are, and I was very open and honest with him, as I recall, 10 or 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, very long time. And I can't even recall exactly. And the last time I saw Mr. Otto was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, running into him happenstance an hour or two away from this county on accident, or just ran into him. So that's all I can say.
Judge, we don't have any objection. I think it's on the court to determine whether you can be impartial or not. And I think you've made a record of that, which is, I think, what I expected to happen. We're all work in small towns, and you come across this from time to time.
It happens, and I can't believe it's been 15 years already. Holy guacamole. All right, so if we're ready to begin, Mr. Schmidt, you may call your first witness.
Yeah, I'll call Timothy Frey.
Please come forward, raise your right hand, be sworn in, and you can have a seat on the witness stand.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide today in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Oh, come right up here, sir. You may begin.
Can you state your name, spelling your first and last name?
Timothy Sean Frey, Timothy
Did you have a safe stolen from you a couple years back?
Yes, sir.
And that's the safe that dealt with the criminal case involving Heather Honeycutt.
Yes, sir.
And at the time it was stolen, did you give law enforcement a list of the items taken?
A partial list of the items taken, yes. The only documentation that I had of what was in there.
Okay. And how did you know what was in the safe?
My grandfather passed away in 2012. My aunt was trustee of his estate, and she didn't do anything. She worked out at Microsoft out in Seattle. Didn't really finalize anything to do with his estate, and then she passed away without a will.
Stop you right there. You're speaking a little fast.
Sorry.
My court reporter has to take everything
Sorry.
down.
Okay.
So I know that you may have.
I'm sorry. Yeah, anxiety. Yeah.
Anxiety.
Mm.
But just try and speak a little slower.
Yes, Your Honor. My aunt was trustee of his estate and didn't finalize anything, and then she passed away without a will. So I had to settle 2 estates in 4 different states, and I had a major issue getting inside of safety deposit boxes with the local banks. The one that my aunt had were those items that are on that list. I had to produce a personal property inventory list to settle her estate in probate. And part of that was taking those items and getting them valued.
So eventually all the items you took from the estate wound up in the safe.
Yes, sir.
And because I went through a property inventory, you just happened to have a list of all the items.
Yes, sir.
Were there other items also in the safe?
Oh, yes.
Did you, for the restitution claim today, did you submit a request for those other items in the safe?
I did not.
Why not?
I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly, what they exactly are with definitions, exact costs. How much weight does something have? That is not my expertise. I mean, since this court case happened, I actually was reached out from another person saying that she might have property of mine, and sure enough, she had one of my grandmother's rings. And again, I would have never been able to know that that was mine unless I saw it again. And the box is from the jeweler that my grandparents used in Illinois.
So you wanted to stick to the things you had, like you said, weight, value.
The things I knew, yeah.
Because some of the items in the safe weren't from the estate.
They were from other estates, correct? Not my aunt's.
When it went through the estate the first time for the property inventory list, did you get values of those items then?
I did in 2014.
How did you go about getting the values of those items?
I reached out to Mr. Otto, who I had done business with before, kind of explained the situation to him. I was like, I just need this to settle in the state. Never knew that this would come to this deal. He was able to help me out. He informed me that he's not going to take the time to do full appraisals on everything, as that would be extremely expensive. And then on the coins, we weren't going off of any collector value. We were just going off of bullion value.
So to clarify, you said you went to a Mr. Otto. Who's Mr. Otto and why did you go to him?
Mr. Robert Otto owns Sather Jewelry in Spooner, Wisconsin, and I have purchased items for my family through him before.
So you went to the jeweler to establish value of jewelry.
Yes, sir.
So when you first met law enforcement after the safe was taken and they asked you for the list of items and the values, were those the values as of the date the items were discovered missing?
No, I was able, luckily in my computer, buried in a folder, I had all the documentation from my aunt's probate. I was able to pull that list and print it on the spot to hand to them because I figured that it was important to get them that list of these missing items as soon as possible. And that value is based on the 2014 inspection or valuation from my aunt's estate.
So those were the unupdated values from 10 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Did you seek reappraisals during the case? The criminal case, I mean.
No, once I found out, after the theft happened, I did go back and speak to Mr. Otto and asked him if he could update the numbers for me so I had a better value for that for law enforcement, as one of the detectives asked me to do that.
Okay.
And that would have been March of 2024.
And then at some point, you went to him for one last time for the value as the date of sentencing?
After your office contacted me when we were having the final restitution case, criminal case being heard, I went to Mr. Otto. He expressed that he did not want to be involved in any type of court case, and I feel awful that he's being drug into this, but he would not give me any new values. He just gave me percentages to increase based on the date of that I contacted him. So I pulled gold bullion spot price, I pulled silver spot price, and calculated those figures with the percentages that he told me to estimate from, which now have gone down. So, but that's bullion for you.
And so Mr. Otto was the one who created that or appraised those items back in 2016.
14. Yes.
14, sorry. And the list that you had from the estate, it described the items with specificity related to like their weight and what they were and cuts of diamond and whatnot.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Was that from you or is from that Mr. Otto?
That was from Mr. Otto.
So he put those notations for the descriptions of those items.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you actually provided each individual piece for him to look at.
Yes.
All right. Were some of these items you reported missing eventually recovered?
A few of them, yes.
And did you submit a list of those items?
I have.
And you also put values next to them?
I did.
And you determined those values of those items?
Yes.
If you saw that list, would you recognize it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, it is a list of the recovered items that I have received back from two different meetings with law enforcement, from two different types of deals that I was able to get back some of these items. And these ones, I was told to actually research and do the full value. So even though my original estimate is bullion value, these values here are collectible values. So the original list, I mean, you look at that, 1972 Ike dollar worth $14,000. There's a lot more of those that were in that safe that I can't go off of collector value. I only can go off of bullion value.
So I'm going to clarify that distinction you made. The list you gave law enforcement, those values, you said those are bullion value. What does that mean?
Basically, gold, it would be $4,500 a troy ounce approximately, depending on the day. A troy ounce would be, divided out, and then a portion of that gold would be added to like a ring or whatever. They gold plated, solid gold, or gold plated items. Same with silver.
So it's the naked value of the silver and gold content in the item.
Correct.
And you said collector's value is how you did the items recovered. How's that different?
Basically there are coin collectors out there. Prime example, that 1972 Ike dollar, or let me use the Morgan one because I can remember that one a little bit better. But some of those Morgan dollars, the value is there's a collector value based upon which minted that coin itself. So on the Morgan dollars, there's a Pennsylvania mint or Philadelphia mint, excuse me. There was one in Texas, but the big one was Carson City. So if it down below, like on a quarter by the eagle's feather, there would be a little CC, and that means Carson City. Carson City coins fetch a much higher value than other coins do because they're more limited runs.
So the collector's value is more than just the silver or gold content.
Yes, sir.
So to clarify then, the list of items taken, you use the lower bullion value, and for the items recovered, you use the higher collector's value.
Yes.
Because are you trying to make like a conservative request for restitution?
I am.
Okay. How did you know the value of those collector items on that list?
Searched multiple collector coin websites. There's USA Coins, coincollectibles.com, and just search those. I also have no idea what condition those were in prior. I am not an expert coin collector, so I just kind of gauged it. There's usually 5 different values, which is like, good, very good, mint, collectible, never circulated in that regards. And on all of these values, I either used good or very good, depending on the condition of the coin after it was returned to me.
Okay. So just to finally clarify one last thing with the distinction between these two lists. So all those items recovered are on this list.
Yes, sir.
But they're on for just the silver bullion. So for example, the 1964 Kennedy $50 you valued in 2016 at $7, it would be worth considerably more collector's value.
Yes, sir.
Okay. or that 1972 Ike coin you said is $14,000 a collector, it would be like $5 here.
Correct.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
$14,000 as a collector, but it's only worth $5
in bullion.
in bullion. Okay.
I'll just ask one more clarifying question on
You're
that,
fine.
just off of
I know,
that. Collectors sometimes will pay more money for an item than the value of the materials in it.
for the rarity.
Because like you said, it being from a specific mint or a specific year or specific printing.
Correct.
Okay. So it's to Miss Honeycutt's benefit, use the lower value to evaluate it, but the higher value to retract from it.
Correct.
Okay.
In hindsight, I probably should have used the same value, but the detective wanted me to give them back the actual value is what I was told to do. So following orders.
And then you eventually, if you recognize that original list of items with values and their descriptions, would you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Because it's the same one that you found in your, I think you said your computer from the estate.
Yes, sir.
And just while you're looking at that, please make sure it's separate from the first document I handed you. Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
What is it?
It is a spreadsheet that was created to do different values of different dates of all the different items.
Okay. And on that far left column, do you recognize the items in it, their descriptions?
Yes.
What are they from?
No, like the one specifically was the 14 karat 0.8 carat round brilliant cut diamond solitaire ring, weight 0.12 ounces, G VS1 quality. That was my grandmother's multi-generational diamond ring.
So these are the items from the estate.
Yes, sir.
This is the list of items from the estate you were just describing.
Yes, sir.
And the the second column from the left, the one after quantity, top is labeled 3/2016 value. Those are the values from the estate originally.
Correct.
And then it's got a number of other columns for other evaluations, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'd ask that those items be marked exhibits 1 and 2 respectfully. I'm going to wait until the end of the hearing to enter them into evidence because I'm going to use them for my second witness. I have no other questions.
Did you get copies of them?
I have copies electronically. Should we get them marked before?
I would say yes, and I don't have copies of them, so I haven't seen them. So why don't you just hand them to me and I'll just hand them over to the secretary.
I'm sorry. He told me to keep them separated.
sorry.
Apologies.
Which one is 1 and which one is 2? Generally, we have them marked prior to the hearing.
The first page will be exhibit 1. I'm sorry, the one that's just one page is exhibit 1.
One page is exhibit 1. And then exhibit 2 is 2 pages.
Correct.
And I'm not sure if you filed them as proposed exhibits. You don't practice in civil, so you probably don't know this. I don't know if Mr. Stroud knows this, but if you did them as proposed exhibits, I don't get them or get to see them until I receive them.
I didn't.
Okay, I just didn't know if you knew that. That was a change in CCAP, I don't know, about a year or so ago. Mr. Stroud.
Thank you. Mr. Frey, so let's go back to 2012 and 2014 and your work as on the estates. I think your testimony was that your grandpa passed away in 2012. Is that right? And was that the grandpa on your mother's side or on your father's side?
Father's side.
And the aunt, your aunt, was appointed as trustee for his estate. Is that right?
Correct.
And then when did your aunt pass away?
I thought it was 2014. Now getting a little confused on this 2016 date, but I'm sorry, I could pull the death certificates. I tried to block some of that out. It's either 2012 and 2014 or 2014 and 2016.
All right, I think that's fine for our purposes. You don't need to get more detailed than that. And then you were appointed the trustee of your aunt's estate. Is that right?
After a long process, yes.
All right. And about just year wise, when were you appointed as trustee?
I believe it was approximately 1 month after her death, as we had to hire a private investigator to look for other next of kin.
So you were the sole heir.
I am the sole heir.
You are the sole heir. All right. So when you were appointed trustee, was this property, the estate property, was that all in one place at that time?
I was in 2 different banks. Well, my aunt's was in one bank. My grandfather's was in another.
All right. And at that time, did you bring them all together to be in one place?
No, I couldn't.
All right.
I couldn't get into both of them.
When were you able to get into both of them?
I had to get executor, be designated the executor of her estate. And at that point, I was able to get the paperwork to actually get into that safety deposit box. But until I was able to settle that and then have the lawyers pass all the other information over, then I could get into my grandfather's safety deposit box.
All right. So my question is, at what time did all this property come together into your possession?
After I got extremely upset with the banks because I couldn't get into the things I needed to get into because there was paperwork in there to do these estates. At that point, that's when I decided to gather everything up and buy a safe and bury it in the back of my pole barn.
All right.
Foot of dirt.
Okay. And so what year was that?
It would have been 2017, probably, I would say.
All right. And that safe that you buried in 2017, that's the safe that we're talking about today.
Yes, sir.
All right. If I recall, didn't you have a contractor bury that safe for you in 2023?
Nope.
All right.
Nope. My mother, my father-in-law, and my wife and I dug the hole, and the 4 of us were able to use straps to lift it down in there.
Mhm.
And then it was closed and put dirt on top of it until my stepfather passed away and my mother added things to it.
All right. And then when was that?
22, I believe. I'd have to, again, pull a death certificate.
And then from after 22, was there another time that you went to look at the safe?
Nope, never again.
Okay.
It was buried under a foot of dirt with deer stands and metal and different things in the back of the pole barn. You know, in the back corner where nobody walks or anything.
And when you had Mr. Otto look at these items, physically look at these items, where did that take place?
At his retail store in Spooner, Wisconsin.
And how did, and then when did that take place approximately?
Within a month after my aunt passed away.
And again, we established that would have been 2016 or 2014, somewhere in there.
Yes, sir. I apologize. I probably should have pulled a few more of these dates to be more prepared, so.
So I have to compliment you, even though you said that you are not an expert in collector coins, you spoke fairly knowledgeably about bullion value, collector value, and all that. Do you have some, before this case arose, did you have some familiarity with the value of coins and jewelry?
My stepfather was really into coins. He had very big into Wheaties, which are a very specialized penny. So yeah, he kind of taught me some of that stuff and then just did my own stuff. I more just like the not collector value, but I'm a financial advisor. So I like to diversify my portfolio, and precious metals is an area of diversification I wanted to make sure that my estate had.
And your estate, so had all of these items officially passed out of your aunt's estate into your name?
Yes, other than my stepfather's stuff, which are not on this list.
All right. So if I understand correctly, none of these items were insured, is that right?
No, I used to do, before I was a financial advisor, I did property casualty insurance, which is PC insurance, like homeowners insurance. Inside of homeowners insurance policies, there's internal limits of liability. So most insurance companies will only insure up to $2,500 to $5,000 in total personal property labeled as jewelry. There's other sublimits like guns and jewelry and precious metals and things like that. The only way to get something on the insurance policy separately is to do a scheduled rider, which changes it to a direct physical loss coverage, and it is extremely expensive to do. Basically $90 a year for every $10,000. And that's years ago. I don't know what the rate would be now.
All right. So with respect to this property, before it was yours and it was property of the state, did you have it quote? Did you obtain an insurance quote? Did you submit any documentation for that?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. Could you
So-
repeat that?
Yep. While you were holding this property as the trustee of your grandfather or your aunt's estate, at any time did you obtain an insurance quote for this property that was entrusted to you?
I did not. No, it would have been too expensive for me to pay for if you want the reason why.
Well, it's pretty valuable property,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying this property is, the total value you're saying is about, well, today, $217,000, but even back then it was what, $50,000, $60,000, what you said, right?
Plus, there's the additional cost of having to get an appraisal on every single individual item, which is usually $75 to $100 per item.
And I need to stop because I need to understand what it is, the amount that we're asking, because I have 3 different supplements to dispositional orders, restitution orders with 3 different amounts. So I don't even know what amount we're even seeking.
The amount is 200.
Well, just hang it. Well, isn't that something that needs to come in through the
You
witness?
said 200 and some 17,000, right? But I don't even know what is even being offered. You said 217,000 at the last hearing. I was told 194,000. So, I mean, you can ask him and you can say, but you stated it. So that's why I need clarification.
Right, well, I would just, the point that I'm at, the topic we're discussing is whether any of this property was insured. I don't have the burden to prove,
No,
I don't have the burden to prove, and I'm
exactly.
not trying
I just
to.
don't know what you're asking because you were saying it was 217,000 and then that made me go, whoa, that's not even what we were discussing was a possibility at the last hearing. In my mind, the a possibility was 194,000, perhaps depending on what the actual sentencing date was. So I was trying to figure out in my head the amounts by listening to him and doing those things. So you're not saying it's 217, then you're not saying it's 217, but that's the amount that came out of your mouth.
Right, because that's what's written on exhibit 2.
Oh. Okay. Worth of all of the property, correct?
Did I mention something, ma'am, that might help clear this up for you?
No,
Your Honor?
just he
Okay,
gets to
sorry.
ask questions and that's just the total amount that was written for the amount of the property.
Okay.
That's alleged to have been taken.
May I continue?
Yes?
Okay. All right, so after the property came into your possession, and it became your property, did you obtain an insurance quote for that?
I did not.
Did you file a tax return as the trustee of the estate for the property that was in the estate?
Yes.
All right, and did you put down a value for the property that was in the estate there?
Which estate are we talking about?
Well, let's start with your grandfather's estate.
My grandfather's estate was actually a living trust that bypassed probate.
All right.
So no to that answer and yes to my aunt's answer. Or to
All right.
my aunt's estate.
All right, and your aunt was the sole heir of your grandfather, right? And then you were the sole heir of your aunt. And so you filed a tax return indicating the value of this property when your aunt passed, sometime after your aunt passed, right?
Yes.
All right. And then when the property came into your possession, did you seek an insurance quote of any kind?
I did not.
And at that time, were you still working in the property and casualty field, or were you a financial advisor at that point?
Just the financial advisor.
All right. Let's talk about some of the items in this inventory. Far and away, the most valuable item, I think you'd agree, is these gold Krugerrand coins.
South African gold Krugerrands. Yes, sir. One troy ounce each.
Tell me about those coins.
There's multiple different countries that issue gold coins. In the United States, it's a golden eagle, which would be a troy ounce. There's also on that list, there's Canadian maple leafs, which are a troy ounce of gold, and there's also South African gold Krugerrands. They're just gold troy ounces issued by governments that people and collectors and people that are looking to invest in precious metals purchase.
And I'm just gonna stop. I don't know if you're going too fast,
Oh,
but these
sorry.
are all very
Sorry, I'm sorry.
different words than we're used to here. And so my court reporter,
I'm sorry again.
it's very hard for her to take it down fast, especially words that aren't in every day.
And at the time that you acquired these coins through the estate, were you aware of their significance?
Which coins? The gold ones?
The gold Krugerrand coins?
Yes, gold Krugerrands fetch a little higher dollar amount than gold bullion spot price. Not much though.
And how about the gold Canadian maple leafs? Tell me about those, because those are also a significant portion of your valuation here.
The exact same thing. My family likes to collect precious metals. So rather than putting money into a CD or something like that, they bought gold.
So sit in the financial advisor seat for a second. If you have a client that's going to acquire coins like this as part of their portfolio, what would your advice be to them in terms of acquiring those items?
I would tell them to put them in a safety deposit box or put them in a safe somewhere where no one would ever find it.
And would your advice be to that person to insure that item?
It would depend on the person, to be truthfully honest. Most of my clients and most people that collect precious metals don't want, no offense, don't want the government knowing what they have. So most of them do not do that. I can tell you that.
All right. And is that one reason why you didn't want to get this stuff insured?
Partially.
So, and the government not knowing that you have it, so you don't pay taxes on it? Is that what that is a reference to?
I mean, what conspiracy theory do you want me to go down?
Well, maybe your
Um,
conspiracy theory is probably the
Yeah,
most
I
relevant.
mean, I mean, just truthfully, like, I had to claim the stuff that was in my, I had to claim the stuff that was in my aunt's estate. My grandfather's stuff literally passed with the living trust to me. I don't want the IRS, the government knowing what I had because that gold bullion is worth money, you know? It's kind of like they see everything that are in bank accounts and your 401ks and everything else. It's, other than burying cash in a safe, it's very similar. You can't insure cash. It would be the same thing. Like especially for people that don't trust banks. A lot of customers bury cash, but that can deteriorate. Precious metal cannot.
So these coins come from banks, do they not?
You can get them from multiple places.
And so as someone that wants to know what they're actually getting in terms of precious metals, wouldn't you agree as a financial advisor, you would want that person to have some kind of certificate of authenticity or something of that nature from the mint?
That's up to the client themselves and how comfortable they are knowing what, or having other people know what they have.
And so you're saying that you had in this estate, there were 20 gold Krugerrand coins. Is that right?
Yep.
And you're saying that there were 11 gold Canadian maple leaf coins. Is that right?
Correct.
Do you have a certificate of authenticity or any proof of ownership for those items for you, your aunt, or your grandfather?
In the safe.
It's all in the safe. You didn't make any copies of those items and save it in your computer? None of that was filed or kept as part of your record-keeping responsibilities as trustee?
Not in my grandfather's estate, no. Everything that was required of me from my aunt, everything that was required from me for my aunt's estate for the executorship was documented, which is why I even have a list of half the stuff that was in there.
Was your grandfather a coin collector?
Somewhat, a little bit. He also had some stamps. He was a sailor mostly,
All right. And,
chemical engineer.
all right, and then your aunt, was she a coin collector?
No,
Did they, so obviously both of them trusted you and held you in high regard. They appointed you as someone to administer their estate. Is that fair to assume? Or did it just default to you?
it defaulted to me.
All right, so you weren't, they didn't pick you out as someone to manage their estate by name.
My grandfather put me as a secondary trustee
All right.
behind my aunt, but again, I am also the sole heir. I don't have any brothers or sisters. My name dies with me. Well, not my son, but yeah.
Questions?
Mr. Schmidt,
Was the value of either of the estates in 2014 and 2016 more than $5 million?
No,
What were the values? Ballpark if you don't remember it.
my aunt's was probably close to 400. Well, hold on. We have family farmland that is held in a trust. Do I account for that in this answer?
Whatever passed through the estate.
Whatever passed through the estate, then hers would be, and then her estate would have been approximately 400,000, 450 maybe.
So neither estate went anywhere near the estate tax.
Correct.
And to clarify, the only value you calculated for as of time of sentencing was the collector values of those coins on what was Exhibit 1.
Correct.
That final number was 22,717.
As the day of sentencing per our looking into that, yes.
And Bob Otto, as the jeweler, would be the one who would know about the value of the other items
That weren't in the list? I'm sorry?
that were on the list.
Yes, oh, yeah. He's the expert. He knows probably gold spot price daily. I don't look at that daily.
Okay, no other questions.
Any recross?
No,
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have those marked exhibits up there.
I do. Generally, they provide a copy for the court as well.
Sure. Before I call my next witness, would you like me to just provide copies to everybody?
Well, generally, you're supposed to provide copies of exhibits to everybody.
Okay. I shall follow the court's instruction.
Thank you.
Object if I provide copies of the exhibit I'm going to enter right now as well.
this is what you gave me in the hallway earlier.
Mhm.
That's fine.
And generally, they do, yeah, well, in civil matters, they do, and then it's wait until you ask it to be received.
I apologize. I reviewed the restitution statute prior to today. It said it does not follow civil principles. It's supposed to be informal with no rules of evidence.
Exactly. I'm just saying, that's the customary procedure, because otherwise, especially with something like this, I don't know this stuff. It's easier if the court follows along with it while there's testimony, because I don't know this stuff. Oh, do you need to get it marked? I don't know what it is.
All right, for my next witness, I call Robert Otto.
Mr. Otto, please come forward. You're going to stand right here, raise your right hand. You're going to be sworn in and come have a seat at the witness stand.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide today in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I see that you brought something up here, Mr. Otto. Okay, do not look at that unless you need to refresh your recollection.
Okay.
And then if you need to refresh your recollection, then you can look at the document, just say, I need to refresh my recollection, please. Look at the document and then put it right back down, okay?
Certainly.
Thank you.
I can tell Attorney Stroud, I can recognize that document from here. It is Exhibit 2, but the original of it.
You may begin, yes.
Could you state your name for the record, spelling your first and last name?
Robert Warren Otto, Robert Otto.
What do you do for a living?
I own a retail store, a jewelry store in Spooner, Wisconsin, Sather Jewelry.
How long have you owned that jewelry store?
20 years.
And have you been operating it as the jeweler at that store for 20 years?
Correct.
In your work there, do people ever bring in pieces for you to look at?
Almost every day.
What do they ask you to do with them?
Evaluate, to give an informal valuation. Sometimes people are just curious. Sometimes people have inherited items. They have no idea what they're worth. Every now and then, it's a request for appraisal, like a more formal valuation where they're trying to sell something publicly or online. Sometimes people want to bring jewelry in for me to buy it from them for scrap, in which case I sell to a refinery in the Twin Cities. Probably most people are coming to have me buy their jewelry, that they don't want any more scrap jewelry. And probably 30% of the time they're coming for just an informal valuation.
Okay. So you have to figure out the value of items frequently.
Every time.
How do you go about doing that?
A lot of it is simple math with tools of the trade. I need a scale that's licensed by the state of Wisconsin. I need a calculator. I need a jeweler's loop. I need a gold tester. I need a diamond tester. I need a digital caliper to measure and estimate the carat weight of diamonds. And those are the tools that I need to perform a valuation.
And you have all those at Sather's Jewelry,
Correct.
and you use those to appraise items.
Every day, yes.
Did you ever appraise items brought to you by Timothy Frey from some estates he was a personal representative of?
Yeah, I would distinguish a word, and it's an important word in the trade, and that is appraise. I was giving valuation, appraisals, particularly appraisals that are brought in for insurance purposes, insurance replacement, require a license that I do not possess. I can perform appraisals, specific appraisals for insurance purposes, for the jewelry pieces that I sell from the store. What I provided for Mr. Frey was a valuation that was not for appraisal, but had replacement and the resale both in mind. So there was not a specific purpose identified at that time. Just said, what do you think these are worth? And so the bullion is very straightforward. It's just math. Like the Canadian Maple Leafs and the Krugerrands, the silver bullion. It's just math correlated with the daily spot price of gold and silver. The jewelry is more subjective. It involves calculating or ascertaining the purity of the gold with the tools that I have, and also by my jeweler's loop to identify markings, 14 karat, 10 karat, which set out the purity of the gold, and I'll evaluate the diamonds by jeweler's loop and my many years of experience. That's how I arrived at those numbers.
Okay. If you saw the list of those items, would you recognize them?
Could you clarify the question?
You, for that evaluation, you made a list of items and values for them, correct?
Correct.
And if you saw that list, would you recognize it?
Oh, yes, and yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna bring up Exhibit 1.
That might actually be. I had that as Exhibit 2, or at least came in second. All right. And is that the actual exhibit, or is that your copy of it?
The actual exhibit. You recognize what's been marked as Exhibit 2?
I'm free to look at that document right now.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a setting out of my valuation. It looks like 4 different dates. March of 2016, the second column, March of 2024. A third column, March 2026. The last one, as instructed by the district attorney to produce a document tied to the precise gold and silver spot prices on June 9, 2026 at 1:00 p.m.
And Let's first talk about that first column. What's that first column?
The first column is a valuation based upon my direct handling and investigating and then writing down on paper, I think at the time, all these items here. And at the time, I don't believe it was a typewritten. I can't recall if it was a typewritten document or it was handwritten. But every item was carefully examined and identified with a valuation number by the side.
Okay, so you are the one who determined these descriptions based on your examination of each item.
Yes.
So for example, very top item on the list, working vintage 18 case Omega automatic watch. Could you describe how you describe that and how it carried through to the evaluation?
Okay. The watch is handed to me or it's in front of me. I first get up my jeweler's loop. I will look for stampings and markings to check the purity. This particular watch was identified with a stamp 18K and Omega on the dial, which would indicate, it would suggest that it's a genuine. I've handled many fake watches in my time, fake Rolexes, not many fake Omegas, but I tested the gold with my gold tester and it came out to be 18 karat, which means carat with a K represents a purity scale based on the number 24. You may have heard that 24 karat gold is the purest of all gold. Well, that's 24 over 24ths pure gold or 100%. 18 karat gold means that it's 18 24ths pure or 75% pure gold. In this case, it's the one item on all these listed where collector's value is considered, because the value of that watch is a piece of jewelry, and a watch with the stamp of Omega on it is considerably more valuable because of the name brand on it than just the sum of its parts. Because the watch is a single working watch, I'm needing to make an estimation on how much of that is gold weight, how much are the guts of the watch. I don't want to bore you with all that. At the time, I remember going online to try to get a feel for the collector's value, which I will do if I need, I'll research. And that was pretty much in the main for that particular watch. I was able to identify that online, eBay, other places. And so I assigned a basic value of $4,000, which I recorded at the time.
And then later, when you were checking for the June 9th, 2026 at 1 p.m., you gave a different value. How did you determine it then?
That was, it only went up $500. It was below the 5,000. That was the biggest jump from 4,000 to 5,000. And a lot of these numbers are lower than what they could be. I didn't want to just jump up the price. So the 4,500 would represent maybe the watches haven't gone up a lot in value from a collector's point of view, maybe even down a little bit over the last 10 years. So that would explain why there wasn't a big increase in the number. Plus, over time, in our industry, watches are the toughest thing to actually sell. So there's a bias toward, okay, what would you actually get for this if you wanted to sell it? And so there was a push-pull with the initial valuations, because on the one hand, there was the idea of replacing these, which to replace any of these things would cost more because it would mean retail. On the other hand, Tim was looking for a valuation, so I'm kind of pulling the prices back was the idea of, well, maybe he wants to sell these somewhere and try to give him an idea of what he might be able to get for these. Like that would explain why I would go online and check eBay for pricing. That isn't a retail price. That's trying to make it sellable for somebody. So that was one specific case where if he actually had to run out and buy that now, you know, he might pay a lot more for it, but my bias is always toward if he wants to sell this. So, and then you clarified that, you know, state law by statute said that this list needs to be a matter of replacement value and not sale value. If Mr. Frey had to go out and purchase these things, but I was just stubbornly keeping a low number at $4,500. Just anybody could just inflate all these numbers basically to whatever number they'd want. But I've always tried to keep things honest and with a bias toward being fair.
So it's a conservative estimate is what you're getting at.
Conservative.
And
would
that
be a
40,
good word for it.
that 4,500 represents the cost of replacement.
Yeah, and it might be a lot more, just depending on, you know, how badly he wants to watch and where he might be able to find that in the marketplace. It'd be a tough find right now, and it might cost considerably more. But again, I'm keeping a conservative number for the court.
Some of these columns, the number on the far right has a letter, either a B or a C. Let's start at the very top by the Krugerrand and the Maple Leafs. What does the B indicate next to those numbers?
By the very informal scripted key on the left, B represents the word bullion, which is metal in its purest form in a coin, and represents a purity nearing 100% pure, 999. In the case of most American coins, 9999% to the 10,000th of a percent for Canadian maple leaves in particular. That's bullion. Coin, for purposes of setting out this valuation and disposition of Mr. Frey's possessions, most of the coin presented was 90% pure silver coin, dated 1964 and previous. There were a handful of other face coins dated following 1965, explaining the low value. So B is for bullion, C is for coin. Sorry for the long answer.
Okay. So let's take that gold Krugerrand gold coin at the top here for an example. How did you determine the value of that in 2016 when you looked at it?
It's all math beyond just the initial identifying. Now, I need to clarify too that these coins were in my possession, handheld, tested with my gold tester, weighed for weight, measured for circumference and diameter, and not circumference, but diameter, and thoroughly tested. Once I test a sample of a number of coins, I'll assume that the rest belong to that same set, are going to be legitimate unless something, you know, might appear funny. But I've handled many thousand bullion coins, but I test in every circumstance just to be certain, because there's more fake out there these days. But those tested 24 karat with my gold tester. The Krugerrands, all tested, you know, they're all 1 ounce coins, 999 pure. And so I know that they're going to be 100%, basically 100% pure. I put the weight on the scale, and they'll measure 1 ounce to the 100th of an ounce. At that point, I know that I have 1 ounce that's 100% pure gold. And so it's a simple matter then of just multiplying that by the spot price of gold that's published every day. I get my from Kitco Spot Gold, one of the more reliable gold purveyors of gold in the US. And then I am able to arrive at a perfect number. For the purposes of replacement, however, I have added additional value of 10%. And that is because if Mr. Frey were to want to replace that missing gold Krugerrand, he would need to purchase that from a purveyor of gold, a gold bullion dealer likely, who would, in an effort to stay in business, would charge a 10% premium above the spot price. So for instance, if gold is $5,000 an ounce, the spot price right at this moment, and there's a 1 ounce Krugerrand on the scale, I'll know that that 1 ounce, that is going to have $5,000 of precious metal value. However, if someone's wanting to purchase one like that exact coin today that has $5,000 of precious metal value, they will need to pay an additional 10% premium in addition to the base amount of gold. So that would mean replacement value on that 1 ounce Krugerrand would be $5,500 and not just $5,000. I have added that 10% premium into these final numbers of 101,728 for the Bullion Krugerrands, the 20 of them, and $55,450.40 for the 11 Canadian Maple Leafs. It's math. That's the math of it. That's the beauty of, and it's the fairness of just doing the math on it when you know that you have a genuine article in front of you. It's just simple math, calculating it out.
Okay. As part of that description, you describe using a gold tester to test some of the coins. Could you just clarify what that gold tester is, how you use it?
Yeah, at the time, 2016, I was using an oral gold tester. I forget the exact model number, but had a very high, probably 96, 97% accuracy rate. I had one previously that didn't perform so well, and the technology has improved. So it was the latest, the best one that I could buy, and proven by many jewelry stores, was purchased from Stellar Incorporated. That is the largest seller of such jeweler's tools in the country, and bought the finest one that I could get for the money.
Okay, so that's the device you used, and that was the common tool of the trade to use at that point in 2016.
Yeah, it was the best one money could buy in 2016. Was that the first one? I'm trying to read it. My eyes are a little blurry. The initial valuation when I actually held those Krugerrands in my hand. Yes.
Okay. And you also weighed those items as well.
Absolutely. Every time.
Do you still use the same scale as you did back in 2016?
As a matter of fact, I do. And that's the scale that I brought along. I don't know, I'm going to submit that as evidence, but I'd want it back.
We're not going to submit that.
Okay.
So that tool you mentioned at the start, is that something that's certified by the state?
Yes, it is. Now, the state didn't start certifying the scale until the last couple of years. It was a scale I've always had. But when I received my surprise inspection by the state inspector a couple of years ago, that was the scale. And that was tested with, he brings in a series of weights and is able to ascertain if that scale measures within tolerances to be able to license it. And that scale was licensed.
So the scale wasn't reviewed or certified until 2023, and that's the first time you ever had a visit from the state.
The first time it was officially, the first time I ever had a state inspector in to evaluate it, but that was the same scale that I used at the time of this evaluation in 2016.
Do you do anything to continue to calibrate the device or anything like that?
Once you calibrate it, it pretty much just stays true. And I don't calibrate it every single day. But when I drop random things like a Krugerrand on top and it comes out 1.000 ounces, that is an indication that, because what are the mathematical possibilities it's going to err up or down even by 1/100 of an ounce. So I do have a 200 gram weight that periodically I will apply, but I don't test it on a daily basis.
Okay. But you've been testing it off and on since 2016 when this happened.
Correct.
And would you recognize the certification that happened in 2023 when
Travis?
the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection certified it the first time?
Yes.
Okay. I don't recall that.
Did you call it Traz?
Travis, I think that was the name of the inspector.
Oh, Travis,
Yeah.
okay.
You recognize the document I showed you?
Yes.
What is that?
This is Wisconsin Department of Agriculture's certification that Travis Soper, Inspector 198, physically tested my scale and signed it, licensing it as a valid device that I could use in the state of Wisconsin within tolerances. And I don't quite understand all the numbers or the error numbers, 0.1 troy ounce, I would guess, for 500 grams. And I don't understand the exact language of that Travis used. I'm just happy he signed that it was a good working and an honest scale
Okay.
that I could use freely with the public.
Okay. I'm going to ask you next about a couple other items on here. I just asked you about an item with a B next to it. Let's go to the first item with a C next to it. I believe on the list, going from top to bottom, the first one would be Washington Quarter Collection Books, 1932 to 1964. What does the C mean?
That means coin. And that's the one, I think it's the one item on the whole, well, I didn't pop them all out of it came in a book. I can't recall the number of them that were in the book. I may have counted them at the time, but I don't have that number delineated here. I can't recall if the book was completely full or not, again, how many quarters, and I wasn't going to pop each quarter out to put it on the scaled away because it was a collector's book. So I probably just made, because they were 1932 to 1964, that means that they would have been all 90% silver. You know, I made a guess, an intelligent guess to get to the $250 number. You're totally irrespective of any collector's value. I wasn't looking for the 1950D quarter, which my folks were coin collectors. I wasn't looking for those dates to ascribe any additional value other than the precious metal value. Because when it comes to coins, I'm not a coin person. I can't ascribe any collector's or numismatic value as is referred to in the coin world. My expertise is in precious metals. So I tried to keep the valuations tied to the things that I knew about. I didn't want to wade into speculating into collector's value where I don't know a lot. So that is largely tied to, the $250, just it rises with the increased price of silver and then pulls back a little bit from 500 to 450. That was an intelligent guess, but not an actual formal weighing of every quarter because I kept it in the book.
Okay. But this one, you also, even though it's labeled C instead of B, you again connected it to the precious metal content and the bullion price of that content.
Right. And again, bullion is only referred to 99.9% pure metal in a coin or a silver bar or a gold bar. So bullion is pure precious metal. Coinage is I'm referring to constitutional coin minted by the United States Mint. That 1964 and earlier was 90% pure silver. So most of the coin that is delineated in this list is 1964 or earlier constitutional coin that is 90% pure silver. And that again gets back into the precious metal value, which I've calculated out. And again, for replacement purposes, added 10% if Mr. Frey were to have wanted to replace those coins with new coins of the same date.
So once again, for this one, you figure out the value of the precious metal inside and just multiplied it using math with the number of that time.
Correct. And for the calculations at the bottom of the page, the last 6, 7, 8, 9, where I have precise weights in troy ounces, where there was a bag of, something, those I actually physically put on the scale. They weren't in a collector's book. They were loose. So I put them on the scale. I took them out of the bag just so it was just the coinage. And knowing that they were 1964 or earlier, I would arrive at a gross weight and I'd multiply that by 90% purity, which would give me the weight of the precious metal. And then I would multiply that by the spot price of silver, $65.42 an ounce, for instance, at the very end, the last number there. And then add 10% for the premium if Mr. Frey wanted to providing a replacement cost. That explains the fourth column.
You keep referring to this 90% number for coinage before 1964. How do you know that?
Longstanding research, survival in the jewelry industry. You get it wrong one time, it pops up the next day in Rice Lake and Hayward and Siren. So you get it right early. And I've been getting it right for about 20 years.
Is it a historical fact that the Mint?
It's a historical fact, yes.
Okay, that they did it at 90%.
Purity. It's well known. It's a well-known fact.
Okay. So most of these items on the list don't have a C or B next to them. Let's take, say, one of these diamond rings. I think towards the top of the list on the left, the first item that starts with 12 kW.15 CT, old mine cut diamond solitaire ring. How would you calculate something like that?
Let's see, where is that on the list?
First page, and if you're just looking at the start of the terms, it's the first item with 12 kW next to it.
Okay, 12. So that would have been a ring, likely tested at 12 karat, white gold, a 0.15 karat old mine cut diamond solitaire ring. That might be, for whatever reason, that might be one of the only ones that at the time I didn't put on the scale. I think most, every other ring is going to have a gross weight on the scale. So I can't explain why I didn't do it there. That could have been just something that I missed. Though I would have put it on the scale, I would have gotten a gross weight. And because again, 12 karat means that it's going to be 12/24 pure gold or 50% pure. And knowing that whatever gross weight was on the scale times 50% would give me roughly the gold content that I would multiply by, at the time, gold was $1,250 a troy ounce back in March of 2016. And once I would arrive at the basic precious metal value, I would use a multiplier of 3 or thereabouts, depending on the quality of the ring. And that would give me kind of a value closer to replacement value than resale value, but not full replacement value. Then I would also consider the 0.15 carat old mine cut diamond, which, you know, I would have my own valuations in mind and would add the gold value, which is more mathematical, with the subjective grading of the diamond to get the $500 that I arrived at in March of 2016.
So you examine the diamonds or whatever stones are in them to determine those values as well.
Correct, with a standard jeweler's 10 power loop.
How do you determine the value of things like diamonds or other gemstones?
Well, it starts with figuring out if it's a genuine diamond or a lab diamond. I have invested $7,000 in a diamond tester. I also have a kind of a frontline $500 diamond tester, which I use commonly. In the case of an old mine cut diamond, the likelihood of that being a lab or a synthetic is next to nothing because no one cuts them that way anymore. They were old mine cut diamonds, have small tables and they're taller and narrower, and is the way they were cut back in the 1880s to 1900. So that was a case I probably would have used the lesser of my 2 diamond testers, not thinking that it's going to be a synthetic or a fake, and it tested as a real diamond. And then probably put less value on it because old mine cut diamonds, especially 10 years ago, were regarded as just poor cut diamonds. And so again, the bias is low. A tricky thing in assigning value is, you know, if Mr. Frey or anybody else would ever want to produce a duplicate of any of these, it would require, because they were vintage pieces, they're not going to be line items, line pieces that you could purchase from a modern manufacturer. It would require a custom jeweler and a goldsmith actually designing something, and then, you know, CAD designing it in a CAD program, and then creating a wax, and then casting it, and then finishing it and making it. You could easily add more than $1,000 to any of those numbers if there was sentimental attachment, and Mr. Frey or anybody else would actually want to replace one of these pieces. So I want to say that because that would be the upper end, the highest kind of value you could put on something like this. But I haven't applied that in any of these valuations. Nothing, not one is considered replacing it with an expensive custom made ring to to replace maybe a sentimental piece that had been lost or stolen. The valuations that I have are very conservative on the replacement side, and even are pulled back a little bit because at the time, Mr. Frey was just looking for a valuation. It wasn't even so much, I don't even think the word insurance was being used. It's just, what are these worth? And when people say, what is it worth? It could mean, what are these worth to replace? It could also mean, what are these worth to, if I wanted to sell these, what kind of money could I get for them? And so I'm providing something, a number kind of in between, but a little more like actually replacing it. Thinking, well, if you lost these are probably vintage pieces, you'd want to replace them. But I could have gone a lot higher with the replacement. So these are conservative numbers that I'm presenting at the time, and never once considered this would ever land in court. But 2016, it was the purpose, the setting out of these numbers was to try to serve Mr. Frey with a number that might give him an idea of what it might cost to replace, but maybe close enough to what maybe he would get if he would ever want to sell it.
And selling value is lower than buying value.
Oh, yes. And sometimes 50% less.
And in this case, these items, the ones that don't have the CRB and X, the jewelry items, you figured out these values from the precious metal content and precious gemstone content.
Correct. Correct. Evaluated both the weight, which is more of a math thing, finding precious metal, the base from the gross weight, how much gold is actually in it, multiply by 3. And then a separate valuation of the gemstones added.
And the way you determine these values, is this the commonly accepted way to do it in your trade?
Yes.
I mean, you've operated a successful jewelry business for 20 years, right?
Correct.
How did you, so you put the values in for both the far left and the far right column, the 2016 and the 2026 column?
Yes.
How did you determine the 2026 value on these items from the 2024 value?
I didn't have the pieces in hand. I didn't have the benefit of holding them. I didn't even have the benefit of holding them in March of 2024. So at this point, you know, I couldn't rely on knowledge of having the ring in hand like I had in 2016. So mostly I'm trying to figure out, and I think what I did, what I would do, and I'm today, probably the same I probably did back then, is I would consider, okay, so gold jumped from $12.50 an ounce to $21.61.70. So that's, you know, that's roughly, you know, it's not quite double, maybe 70-80% more. So, but diamond prices didn't go up that much. So I probably, in my mind, assigned, okay, there's the gold side that bumped up 80%. But the diamond probably didn't go up that much. So it wasn't just a, you know, it wasn't multiplying by 1.8 or 1.9, just jumping it up there, because I knew that the gold was just a piece of the value. So, but it obviously moved in the direction the number got bigger and then got really big from 2024 to 2026 because the price of gold more than doubled. So, but again, my jumps were conservative because you know, because it was always keeping in check the fact that the initial purpose of it was to give a valuation that might be tied to what maybe he could get for these if he were to sell them versus replace them with custom jewelry or with manufacturer's line, you know, piece that might be similar.
So to clarify then, is what you did, you looked at the descriptions that when it was in your hand in 2016 and calculated using June 9th, 2026 values.
Correct. And that is it's an estimation. It's not precise because, well, in the case of the bullion, it's absolutely precise because the weights never change on a 1 ounce Krugerrand. All that changes is the spot price of gold. And likewise for the silver coin. So I got a little lost in the weeds.
Sure. So like, for example, we'll take one. I'll ask you for an example one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 items down the list. Item described as 14 KTT 2.0 mm round, full cut diamond solitaire ring, weight 0.055 ounce. How did you say translate the 2016 value to now?
Okay, so that one is very straightforward because I dropped the ring on the scale. I'm not pulling out the diamond. I'm just counting the diamond as if it were gold, which biases it up, just a couple hundredths of a percent, probably not a lot. So I dropped the 14 karat two-tone yellow, white, gold. I test it. I look for the stamp. I test it, then I put it on the scale, and it was showing me 0.055 troy ounces of gold. And I would know in 2016 then to multiply that number by 1,250, which would give me a base amount, and I would multiply that number by 3. Then I would look at the quality of the 2.0 millimeter round, full cut diamond. Full cut would mean that it's going to be a more modern stone. It wasn't a big enough diamond where there's going to be a big, I looked at it, and because I didn't put any notation by it, like G, VS1 or GS, is mostly because it's probably clean, but I didn't put the time into, color, clarity, and because I told Mr. Frey at the time, I'm gonna work smartly, but I'm not gonna do a full-fledged, GV color and clarity evaluation of every single diamond. But I know what those are by book, 2 millimeter, and I probably would have been biased kind of in the middle or to low. What I would judge as the clarity and the color of the stone. And then the thing that I couldn't reproduce, but in assigning value to that first column, I would look at the condition of the ring. Some of the rings handed me, I'm guessing, had, some wear and tear on them. Some may have looked in more pristine condition than others. That was all information that I didn't have in column 2 and 3 in the subsequent visits and the completion of column number 4. So I was making some subjective judgments as to the overall quality of the ring, though mostly it was attached to the gold, which is just a formula, it's math. And then you'd have the diamond with my loop in hand. In the bigger diamond, for instance, the 0.80 carat, there I did provide a, G, VS2, G in color, VS2 clarity, because that a difference, 1 degree in difference in color and 1 degree of difference in clarity can mean a 10% difference in the value of a diamond. So that's right. I included it in the larger diamond, but I didn't put color and clarity in all the smaller diamonds. But that would be, again, math in the ascertaining the purity of the gold, testing it, looking for a stamp on the scale, purity of the gold multiplied by the weight on the scale gives you the precious metal value 3 times, times the spot price, gives me a basis for the metal, and then add to it the more subjective valuation of the diamond, testing if need be, putting the diamond tester on it, and then giving a combined value in column 2016. But then column 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4, I didn't have any of those pieces in front of me to go back and probably at that point didn't even remember what they looked like, but boy, I sure had my hands on them that first time.
But that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, so you had it the first time, you described how you established it in 2016. How did you calculate it in column 4 of the 2026 based off of the first 2 columns?
Yeah. So again, it's gold jumped. I mean, I don't have the percentages, but gold jumped from $12.50 an ounce to $21.60, $1.70. And at the time I calculated out what would be a fair raising of value with a 80% jump in the gold price. But there wasn't an 80% jump in those prices from column 1 to 2. Is probably less than that because, you know, not all the value was calculated on gold value. Some of it was diamond, and diamond value pretty much stayed static during that same time. So that's why it's not, I didn't just apply a formula of, oh, gold's up, say 80%. Well, I'm just going to multiply that number by 80%. I didn't do that. Understanding that the gold was just a slice of the value.
So you did do multipliers, but you considered the other items in the piece in determining how much of that multiplier.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Which means that it wasn't just a simple calculation based on, oh, 1250 gold jumped to 2161, you know, divide that out, find the percentage, and then multiply that down the list. I didn't do that. And same with when gold jumped to 5100 an ounce, March 2026. I didn't just figure, oh, that's, you know, 2.2 jump, and then just do that as a multiplier all the way down. Always keeping a conservative bias.
Okay. And just to clarify, the way you obtained the values of, say, gold spot price average, silver spot price average, how'd you get those?
Every day, almost without fail, probably every day for the last 15 to 20 years, I'll look at the Kitco spot gold price every day, as it's the backbone of our industry.
And just so we have it for the record, because you said Kitco,
Oh, Kitco, Kitco.
thank you.
Kitco.
And what is Kitco?
Kitco is a purveyor of gold for a small refinery, but they are known for their everyday published spot price of gold and silver that are relied upon by bullion dealers across the country and jewelry stores.
So it's
For
common
accuracy.
for people in your profession to rely on their numbers.
Yeah, and it's the price changes maybe every 15 seconds. So at any moment I consult, it's exactly what the price is, but it could change 30 seconds later.
And the tools you describe using for measuring these items, the jeweler's loop, the gold tester, the silver tester, et cetera, those are all commonly used tools of your trade.
Correct. And I specify gold tester. The silver is a little bit tougher, but there aren't any pieces here that are sterling silver that are delineated. Just silver coin, which can be verified by weight and by being held in the hand. And because I've held a lot of constitutional coin in my hand too, through the years.
So we described a couple of example items on this list. Did you consistently apply the same methods of examining for all the items on the list?
Correct.
The same as those examples?
Yeah, I strive to do that. Maybe I didn't do it perfectly. There was one item that you indicated where I obviously forgot the one with assigned $450 value, where I don't have a gross weight on the ring, the old mine cut diamond. So I was in error there.
Okay.
Which can happen in, doing a number of items.
And ultimately, when you applied that process to all the items on the list, you came to $217,012.60.
Yeah, adding it all up, I would need to look at page 2 again, and I put them in order of just kind of rock solid values because the total bullion, and that's the pure 100%, basically 100% pure gold and silver coins set out in this document came to $160,851.91. And if accepting that the bullion is genuine bullion, which I tested, that value is right to the number, but includes the 10% premium added. So that really is just straightforward math. There's no subjectivity involved in it. The total coin, that relates to a lot of the items on the bottom of page 1. Some of the larger numbers, 1,700, 1,100, 1,400, 1,600, 600, 700. And that's 90% silver coin, constitutional coin. And there's a handful of, there were just some face coins. After 65, there were some foreign coins in there. I didn't assign any value to those because I didn't have any knowledge of if those foreign coins were worth a dime. So I think I put not applicable to the foreign coins. And then I'm clear to point out here that there was no collector's value considered in any of the coinage. Strictly precious metal value ascertained by the silver price at $65.42 a troy ounce.
If you did try to do collector's value, say Mr. Frey asked you and paid you that extra way back in 2016, what would that do to the number here?
It would go up considerably, but if Mr. Frey would have ever asked me that, I would say you need to go see a coin guy right now because I'm not going to even project a number for you.
And then the last section on the last page of that document, the jewelry and watch, 47,786.81. That was the one where it was harder because it's multiple components.
Yeah. And again, the goal part is there's a lot of math involved because it's identifying the purity on the scale, tested scale, multiply the purity by the weight on the scale, times 3 gets me, if we were to go to a full retail, it might be 4.5 to get to retail, to actually replace it. I was conservative at 3. And, but then the subjectivity can come in when it comes to, looking at the diamonds and evaluating, ascribing some value to the diamonds or the gemstones. And that's where, expertise comes in. And again, my bias is always toward grading it down because I'm in a business where I don't want to create an expectation that I can't meet. I'd rather a diamond quality be a little bit better than what I'm calling it, than calling it too much, which is, unfortunately, it can be all too common in our industry where people will just get a grading report and say, "Oh, this is a ESI 1 or whatever," and they're fudging on the color and clarity so that someone can misrepresent it and call it what it isn't to get more money for it. So I've tried to run an honest business. I believe that's one of the reasons why I'm in business today, 20 years later. Had the #1 rated jewelry store in the state of Wisconsin for small markets, #1 recommended because I've tried to be honest through the years and try to be conservative in my valuations and not to inflate. That was my original purpose in helping Mr. Frey back in 2016 when I had the pieces in hand. The other was just kind of estimating and trying to do my best to provide something honest for the court in the far right column, but again, with the bias towards being conservative.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Before I have you ask questions, Mr. Stroud, I know you're probably going to ask this question, but I just want to know right off the top of my head while I'm thinking, Mr. Otto, do you charge a fee for your valuations?
I probably charged him something, I can't recall. It might have been in the realm of $100 back in 2016. Might have been more than that. You know, if it's just 5 or 10, 15 pieces that through the years, I've done that for free, just as a service. And I probably cut back on that a little bit because there just aren't people who do this much anymore. So if it's just a handful of pieces, I'll still do that at no charge. If it was something like this, I'd say, oh, that's gonna, it's gonna take a little time. I might need to charge you $100 an hour. And maybe Mr. Frey's case, something like this. It probably would have taken me 3 or 4 hours, but I probably only would have charged him maybe a couple hundred at the most. Maybe he could verify that, but there was a charge originally, but no subsequent charges.
No subsequent after the fact in the other 3?
Not that I can remember. Maybe Mr. Frey remembers, but I don't believe so.
Okay.
There was no fee on the last set of numbers provided to the court.
All righty. Mr. Schmidt, any question off of my few questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Stroud.
I would just judge, we've been at it for about 2 hours. Does anyone need to take a break before we keep going?
I don't know if you need to take a break or you want to take a break, but we do have when I scheduled Mr. Nelson and Mr. Byers' case, I did inquire as to with the district attorney how long it may take. And that's why I was scheduled him at 2:30. So if you need a break and Ms. Honeycutt needs a break, then we can take a break and I can hear Mr. Nelson and Mr. Byers.
Sure.
If otherwise we can keep going.
I'm ready. I was asking for your court reporter, your clerk, or anybody that needs one, but
Really need to be.
yeah,
She needs to go.
yeah.
I
let's
thought
take a
I
break.
thought I heard a little or sensed a little. So we're fine with that. I did inquire with my clerk if she needed a break. She does not. I don't know about my court reporter. But we can take a break right after Mr. Nelson because it'll take some time for Ms. Honeycutt to go to the jail to use the services and then to be brought back. Okay? Then we will briefly adjourn so you can go have a break. And when you come back, you are still under oath and come right back to the seat.
Certainly. Thank you,
Okay,
Your Honor.
thank you. When we are
Just
done.
make sure to leave all those items up there.
Okay.
Yes, I don't believe we need them or need that chair. So you're free to leave and have some water, use the restroom,
Thank you, Your Honor.
and then we'll come back. Thank you.
As I recall, it's 2016, but I would recall that it was more like a general, could you give me a valuation of these? Like an informal, not for insurance, maybe for selling, maybe for replace, I didn't even think replacing, but just a general valuation. So it's kind of like, it kind of melds into this way that I handle that when people, because it's common, people commonly come and say, what's this worth?
Right. Yeah, you said it happens almost once a day.
Every day.
Probably more times than once, right?
Yeah,
And then you drop everything and then you look at what it is, right?
yeah.
And often, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, several thousand times.
And a lot of those times when you, like, I've seen the show, like, what's it called? Pawn Stars in Las Vegas.
Oh, sure.
You know the show that I'm talking about?
I haven't watched it often, but I am aware of it.
You know the format though? Someone comes in with an item and they, say, hey, what's this worth, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then they bring in an expert like you or, expert in Japanese swords or whatever, right? And then they give a valuation.
right.
True? You're familiar with the format?
Yeah.
And then they ask, and then they say, I'll buy it from you for whatever,
Yeah.
right? Is that often how your conversations go with folks?
I usually I don't make an offer to purchase unless they tell me that's the purpose for their being there.
Why wouldn't you offer to buy at these prices? Like you said, they're fair prices. You gave it a fair valuation, a conservative valuation. Why wouldn't you offer to buy these items?
Because that wasn't what I was asked to do. And it's that simple.
All right. So like you said, you were kind of implying 2016 is a long time ago. And so I have questions about this particular spreadsheet. Did you start this spreadsheet in 2016?
No, I don't believe so. I think it was handwritten. You'd have to ask Mr. Frey, but I think it was handwritten.
All right. Did this exhibit 2, did you create this spreadsheet?
No, I was handed that sheet.
You were handed this sheet by someone else. Is that what I?
Correct, yeah.
Who handed you this spreadsheet?
I can't recall. Maybe it was emailed to me.
Who emailed it to you?
It wouldn't have been Mr. Frey. It could have come from the district attorney's office.
All right. Do you remember about when it would have been emailed to you?
Sometime within the last few weeks. Short-term memory with me it's not a winner.
That's okay. That's okay. Huh. So you did not create this spreadsheet, and as far as you know, Mr. Frey did not create this spreadsheet. You believe it was sent to you from the district attorney's office, Burnett County District Attorney's Office.
I believe so. What I had written was an original, probably in pen. Now I can't recall if I had typed it up. And that's something I wasn't like preparing for today, like, oh, what could be all the questions I'm going to be asked, and try to think like a lawyer thinks. I could have typed it up. Maybe the precision of the words, I could have typed it up originally. Maybe Mr. Frey would remember. Sometimes, like today, these days, sometimes I'll write it out. Because there were more items, there's a chance I could have actually typed it up, but not in that format with columns. I definitely did not do that.
Okay, so what I need the judge to know is that this exhibit 2 that you've been talking about, this is not a document that you created.
I remember the times of adjusting numbers, and though I couldn't recall the exact date that happened, I remember doing that. And I remember going back 10 years, holding the pieces in my hand and evaluating, being very thorough. And that's where you get the exact numbers. And so I recall that.
So after you got this spreadsheet a few weeks ago, did you go back to your notes from 2016?
No.
Did you go back to your notes and compare what you had in your notes to what was in the spreadsheet? Yes or no?
Again,
Okay.
I didn't go back. I didn't consider any, original document. Many times I'll create a document. If it's handwritten, I just hand it to the person. I don't keep it. It's for their use, not mine.
And like you said, you had thousands of these conversations since 2016.
I would say yes.
And it would be unreasonable for anyone in this courtroom to expect you to remember each one of those conversations.
In specifics. Yeah.
And in terms of, I know you testified that you remember holding items in your hand. You don't remember specifically each and every item on this that would be on this list.
What I do remember of all those items, I remember those Krugerrands and the Canadian Maple Leafs. Maybe not by exact number, but I do. It's not every day. The pieces that are not every day, I recall, and that's mostly what in terms of exact pieces. I recall the Krugerrands because it's not common for someone to hand me 20 Krugerrands. It's not common for someone to hand me 11 Maple Leafs. So I would say yes, I remember those.
You remember those two categories of items?
Correct.
In terms of the other items on here, how many rings have you looked at in the last 10 years, sir?
Thousands. Yeah.
Thousands. Yeah. So none of these rings or watches.
I couldn't tell you the shape. The Omega, simply by looking at the description, I could conjure an image of what that Omega would look like. But the specific watch, and that's why I have to rely upon the numbers and what I write down originally, because if those are the numbers that are conveyed, then I would stand by those numbers with my name and my reputation.
And I have to stop both of you. You both are speaking over on top of each other, and it's hard enough with the different words here for the court reporter to take down, that it's even more difficult when two people talk at once. So just try and be cognizant of that, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And in terms of the numbers that are conveyed, these numbers on Exhibit 2 were conveyed to you by the district attorney's office, as we've established, right?
That readout, yes.
And so, going through, like, the bag of 1964 and pre-Roosevelt dimes, you don't remember looking at a bag of dimes to make sure they're all Roosevelt dimes, do you?
I'll sort through. Yes,
And you didn't go look to see if the numbers on that the district attorney provided you actually lined up with the numbers that you had in your notes from 10 years ago,
I don't know if I even have notes from back then.
which is fair. That's a long time to hold on to a handwritten note for someone who isn't gonna sell you some jewelry, right?
Correct.
Let's talk about the jewelry pieces. You talked about how with some, like with the coins, it's a very simple math formula.
Correct.
At some point you did the weight, multiply that by the market price on a given day, you come up with a value, right?
At 10% premium. Yeah.
And then jewelry is different because you got different metals, you got different materials.
Can I just jump in? I'm hard of hearing. You're not at a mic and you're facing away from me. I can't hear what you're saying.
He is deaf in one ear.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not know
Yes.
that. If I stand here, is that better? Can you hear me?
If you either face me or are by my mic.
Because it's hard, it's very hard for him to hear. And I think, isn't that your bad ear?
Yes.
Right. Well,
And we don't have handheld, I'm sorry.
are you able to hear me if I stand over here? Is it
That would
better if I
work.
stand over
That
here?
would work. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm sorry.
You said when you're valuing a piece of jewelry, you have to take into consideration there might be a diamond on it, right?
Correct.
And there might be a precious metal like the band. right?
Correct.
But then I think your testimony was also, you have to take into account some subjective component to that value, right?
Correct.
And describe for me what that subjective component was.
The general quality of the ring. If there's need of repair, for instance, or if the prongs are in good condition, if it looks relatively new or in pristine condition, I haven't set that out, but I will make those judgments before I assign a number.
And on this form, Exhibit 2, this spreadsheet, there's no notation of that subjective component.
Correct.
At all. All right. And then now, if this were a scenario where someone were coming to you with a piece of jewelry that meant a lot to them personally, would you pay them for that sentimental value as someone in the jewelry business?
No, we buy at wholesale. And I declare that to people that, you're going to do a lot better by selling this directly to the person who will love it and wear it and enjoy it the rest of their life. You don't want to sell it to me. I will be the buyer of last resort.
All right.
Because I can buy at wholesale.
It's not fair to, yeah, right. And it's not fair to ask you to pay me for my sentimental value for a particular piece of jewelry.
Correct.
Just so I don't
Okay.
walk off of that. I want to know more about the difference between the informal valuation process that you described and then the appraisal process, because you drew that distinction for us earlier. Tell us more about the differences.
Yeah, an appraisal will take. An appraisal can take anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes to an hour with an appraisal program that I have that will run me through the paces of describing the ring in detail. Common elements are the weight, the purity of the metal, the carat quality of the metal. And then with appraisals, there's a more exact effort made at calculating the exact diamond weight, the exact color, and the exact clarity. And then ascertaining if there are many diamonds, the total gem weight or the total diamond weight, which in some cases can far outstrip the precious metal value in a ring. So, and then the workmanship, the quality, probably I need to address 20 different issues of style, as well as the weight and the quality of the items presenting.
And who develops that checklist that you follow for an appraisal?
Oh, I just off the top of my head, I even forget the name of the manufacturer that comes up with, it's widely used in the jewelry industry. Gem Guide is the outfit that I've used for the last number of years.
And Gem Guide is you said widely accepted methodology for
Yeah,
value.
it's a computer program. It provides a template of questions, and then once you answer the questions and you hit a button, it'll generate a beautiful report in jeweler's parlance. Something that I sign on the bottom, always declaring, because again, I can only perform appraisals for items that I sell. Sather Jewelry was the seller of this jewelry, needs to be on that document.
Why is that signature on that document important?
Well, that's my name. I stand behind it.
And on the valuation, any of the valuations that you've done here, you didn't have to sign anything or give any kind of certificate?
In some cases I signed. There's a chance that I could have signed that 10 years ago, put my name and date, and I'll often record at the time. I know I do this today, and it's probably just because it's a well-worn trail, well-worn habit, is I'll record the spot price of gold and silver at the time of valuation. So, and that was recorded, at least originally, and then, transposed into that, I'm assuming.
With the appraisal process, why does Gem Guide create that methodology for folks in your industry?
To be able to produce a uniform final product, and to organize it. It makes me just punching in values, and then it provides the language that turns it into a professional document that can be recognized by an insurance company. Again, appraisals are only for insurance purposes, and that's the only condition under which I would write a formal appraisal for insurance purposes and none other. I won't write an appraisal for estate valuations, for instance. I can only do informal valuations.
Why wouldn't you, if someone asked you for an appraisal for an estate, why wouldn't you do that for them?
Because it requires formal licensing.
All right, and do you have that licensing?
No, I don't.
What is the scope of your licensing?
I'm not licensed to do appraisals.
Why is that?
I haven't sought it out. It's an area that I wall off from what I do, but I am able to provide valuations for informal purposes.
So going back to Gem Guide, is that a valuation industry or widely accepted valuation tool for things like diamond rings?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a widely accepted valuation tool for things like watches?
No,
Is
no,
there
just jewelry products. Yeah.
Okay.
Watches are really tricky.
Tell me more about that. Is there an appraisal process for watches?
I don't even touch that. I'd say there's a fellow down in Barron who has a lot of experience, but when it comes to watches, no matter what kind of, it's what the market will bear. And that's why, for instance, that 18 karat Omega watch, I looked at eBay to see what they were selling for at the time. That's how I ascertained that number.
Well, eBay, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't shopped on eBay in a long time, but isn't eBay an auction site?
Yeah,
Like people just can put whatever they want on eBay. That's not the sale price.
yeah. Yeah, right. But if you look at it enough numbers, and I remember, and it would be part of my process to consider a number of different numbers to kind of get an average for it.
What about coins? Is there a gem guide equivalent for rare or collectors?
I would have no idea, but Gem Guide has nothing to do with coins. It's just for gems.
But just in your experience as someone that's in this industry, there are ways, specialized ways to value coins, are there not?
Oh, yeah, for numismatics, people that, I mean, Mint State MS grading from 65 to 55 or whatever to 75 to proof. I know that there are people out there, maybe some in Northwest Wisconsin, but I am not one of them.
And those acronyms that you put out there, are those standards for valuing collector's coins and rare coins? Yes, sorry. You
Oh,
have to
yeah, there's a
verbally
question
answer.
there.
Yeah, it's a leading question, so.
Oh, so ask the question, please.
I will. Those acronyms that you gave us, MS and some others, you were saying emphatic, and I'm not familiar with them. Are those names for standard methods for valuing collector's coins?
I believe so. Yes, I have, for instance, I have seen gold coins come in cases. Now, this is constitutional coin. This is not bullion. But this is constitutional coin, say a $20 gold piece from 1910 will be in a plastic case and it'll say 1910 plain or 1910D MS, $20 gold coin, Liberty or whatever. And then it'll state the grading by Amex or Comex. They'll have a grade assigned to how clean the coin is, whether it's mint state, it's perfect, not a blemish on it. This renders a higher number, a lesser number grade if it's been in circulation or has scratches on the face, and the value diminishes with the lower mint state condition of the coin.
And
I
are
know-
you saying mint?
Mint
State?
state, yeah,
That's
mint
what I thought.
state,
Mint state.
MINT.
I know a little bit
STATE.
about collecting coins, but not a lot.
And with that coin appraisal valuation process that you just described, that's an area that you haven't developed expertise.
And never want to. There are people for that. I've never set foot. Always refer to somebody else.
And why would you refer to somebody else?
So they can be served honestly and be given fair treatment, fair value.
I don't even have a question.
Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you. Is it a common practice among people in your profession to do informal evaluations in addition to appraisals?
Regarding the same piece,
Yes, to offer both options.
unless I never offer an option to appraise unless I am 100% certain that that is a piece that I have sold to them. But I've performed hundreds of maybe a couple thousand informal evaluations.
And do you stand by those as accurate representations of items value?
Yes, they're general, they're close. When it comes to appraisals, it's down to the penny in terms of putting numbers in and getting a final number out. It's not that way with general valuations, though the bullion coinage and the coinage, not bullion coinage, but the bullion and the coinage, it's to the penny for June 9, 2026, 1 p.m. The jewelry, there's subjectivity to it, but that's close, but the bias is conservative.
Okay. The replacement values you listed, do those contain sentimental value within them?
No,
And I'm specifically asking that for the June 9th, 2016 ones.
correct. No, not at all. And there's only one piece that considers any collector's value in that entire list, and that is the working vintage 18 karat case Omega automatic watch.
Otherwise, you're just calculating values of materials.
In gold, yeah. Yeah, otherwise, if it weren't an Omega, if it weren't 18 karat, if I wasn't able to find it several places on the internet, eBay probably being one of them, I would have to make an estimated guess, dropping it on the scale and calculating about, with the major element of the weight being the guts of the watch, which I would be scrapping away, how much 18 karat gold value is in it. But then we're talking about scrap value, and that's a whole different value than what I've recorded here.
Do there exist notes from the 2016 evaluation in your possession anywhere?
There may be. I have documents that go back almost to the inception of my business. I might find that there, but I didn't think to locate that or think that wasn't. Just wasn't in my preparation for being here today. It might exist. And I suppose it wouldn't surprise me if it did, just because the number of pieces here and the fact that my writing isn't great. But I don't know, that Mr. Frey would probably better answer that question. And he might have the answer to that question.
And finally, these values in the far right column, the 6,926, these are replacement values and the cost for Mr. Frey to replace them for materials purposes.
Right, conservative replacement. The bullion and coin is very just math, but subjectivity on the jewelry. But again, a conservative number for replacement. Again, because if there were a piece that he truly deemed as sentimental and could recall its features and went to a goldsmith to have them replace that sentimental piece, you could add $1,000 to maybe even $1,500 to any of those numbers. But I didn't want to wade into that. So I kept it simple. And again, with a conservative bias, not to stick it to anybody.
Okay. And finally, in creating this far right column, you relied on your memory of the pieces you actually held and this far left column.
What I recall the date, I recall the exercise, the language here in what was handed me would be very consistent to how I would identify and mark things, which, even if I didn't have the original record, I could look at this and say, well, that's just how it's the order of the way I would notate things. And so by looking at the descriptions, it felt very familiar to me, the way I would organize. I would keep the bags of coin together, for instance. Some of it's random, but there are places where I would group things together. And so I'm at home in my thinking when I look at this document. It's logic and the language and, the way it was put together. So there is a familiarity that I have with it, though I cannot say conclusively to the court today that I have original records in my possession.
Okay. And the Excel sheet that has been marked as Exhibit 2, you didn't create that. Only the handwritten stuff is yours.
Column 4, yes, that's my handwriting.
As well as the other handwritten stuff on the document.
The handwritten notes, correct. And the notation, fair replacement value of items dated, with the gold price recorded, silver price recorded, and the note that 10% bullion premium included for the bullion and the coin.
Okay, no other questions.
First, it's Mr. Frey is the victim. Second, you have great handwriting. Very nice. Third, then we're going to go to Mr. Stroud. Do you have any recross?
No recross.
All right, I believe Mr. Frey is trying to get your attention, Mr. Schmidt. I
I do
believe I
have
know
to
what he's trying to get your attention for.
I do have to recall him as a witness as well.
Judge, I know you scheduled this for less than 2 hours and we're almost at 3 hours. There's a valuation component to this hearing. There's an ability to pay component to this hearing. Please, can we move on with this? I tried to keep my cross as short as I could.
No, I know, and I do appreciate that, and quite honestly, I knew you were going to get to those things. But if it pleases you, you can do a written argument with those things too, because you might want to go into more depth. But I don't know. So no more questions?
Correct.
You are released. Thank you. And I believe you may briefly call Mr. Frey for rebuttal, because I know exactly why you're going to call him, because I can just tell on the faces of the three back there. My gut is telling me that he has the handwritten original notes. That's my gut. My gut's usually right on. But I could be wrong. All right, Mr. Frey, please come up. You are still under oath. But I could be wrong. All right. Mr. Schmidt, briefly,
Is Exhibit 2 still up there?
right there, yes.
Can you, I'll hand it to the witness.
Probably wanted to
Do you recognize the item in front of you?
I do.
What is it?
It was a document that I helped your office create with my past notes and spreadsheets and everything that I've compiled.
So you had a spreadsheet of the information from the estate
Yes,
and you provide to the DA's office as well as some values of some items?
correct.
And are the numbers on that consistent with your notes from the estate?
Correct. Yes.
Did you just hand me the estate document?
That was basically, that was when I went in and saw Bob for the 324 values. And that is a copy of a signed one with Bob's signature on it.
I'm gonna show something to the defense and approach the witness.
And we're talking about March 2024, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
There's a backside.
You make a copy for Mr. Stroud and for the court,
I'll ask the clerk to do it. This is my first time
not the clerk's job.
doing the best I can.
Mr. Stroud, do you need a copy?
I'd like to have a copy, and I would just object to like this never-ending restitution hearing where we keep getting more documents and more documents and more documents. I'm handed stuff right before 1 o'clock. I'm handed stuff in the middle of the hearing. I don't think that whatever this is should be admissible.
May I respond to that?
You may.
I think it's admissible because the discovery statute specifically says there's no right to discovery and that the purpose is for it to be informal for the benefit of victims because victims are not lawyers and don't know what to provide beforehand.
I'm overruling the objection, and that is true. And plus, it could be rebuttal documents that just came into existence or thought of because of the testimony that was received today.
You may.
The one to Mary's? Yeah.
And I do apologize to the court. I vastly underestimated how long this would take.
Yes. That's okay. I am just dying of heat. It's like the air conditioner is not on at all. And I'm sure you are too, Mr. Stroud. It is hot in here.
I'm doing fine.
You may take off your jacket if you wish.
If you've ever wondered why I always practice in here with no
No,
jacket,
that
makes
you
sense.
know my secret.
That makes sense.
Corey, why don't you just go take a little break, see? This is much longer and much more tedious because of the difficult words and things. Back on the record, same appearances as previously noted. I have the real exhibit. I'll keep that. You just give him that one. And I won't write on it.
Okay, do you recognize the item handed to you?
I do.
What is it?
It is an updated spreadsheet of on March of 2024, when I went back into Bob after I found out my safe was stolen, to get new values on these items.
So this is the 2024 reevaluation. This is not the signed original 2016 one.
Correct. Correct. I don't remember. I'd have to check into my computer deep down if it was handwritten or if it was typed out. That original one.
But the list of items and their descriptions, are those the same as you got from Bob in 2016?
Yes, absolutely.
The values, are those the same you got from Bob in 2016?
The original ones that are typed out, yes. And then the handwritten ones, yes.
Okay. And is exhibit 2 up there?
I don't have it.
I understand which one you're speaking on.
He has exhibit 2.
Yep, that's 2. Sorry. Yes,
Ah.
exhibit number 2. I do have it.
And are those the same descriptions
Yes,
and the same values?
yes,
So those are originally from you,
yes,
and then you sent those to the district attorney's office?
correct.
Okay. No other questions?
Mr. Stroud.
With exhibit 4, the typed part, you typed that. Is that right?
I'm not 100% sure. It could have been from Bob's original one in 2016, or I could have typed it from his handwritten one, because I had to submit that to the state of Washington for the probate.
All right. And then the handwriting on here, do you recognize that as Mr. Otto's handwriting? Very fine handwriting?
Yes,
No more
you
questions?
wouldn't be able to read mine.
No more
All
questions.
right. Okay, no more questions. Okay, thank you. Let me step down. And do I have all of the exhibits, please?
You don't. And I am moving to admit all 4 exhibits.
Mr. Stroud. I only have 2. I have 2, 3. 1, 2. I only have 1 page of. I've got 3, 2. 4. Okay. There we go. Other objections, Mr. Stroud?
Other objections?
To me receiving those documents.
No, I noted my objection and I think the court ruled on it squarely.
Then they are received. No more arguments? I mean, no more witnesses?
No more witnesses.
Any witnesses, Mr. Stroud?
How would you prefer to do this? Bifurcated and make it hear argument on the valuation side? And then, as you said, written arguments on ability to pay?
We can do that.
All right.
Is Ms. Honeycutt going to provide testimony?
That was the plan.
Okay, then that's great. Then let's just plan on written with the other things, because we do need her testimony for your arguments.
Right. So should we have her testimony now then?
Yes. Oh, Oh, unless you were asking if you wanted to put this to another day, but you come from like very long ways away. So that's your call, Mr. Stroud. Otherwise, if you feel better coming back another day and doing everything orally instead of in writing, I'm perfectly great with that too.
No, I think, well, my preference would be for oral argument, but let's get all the evidence and evidence and testimony and then make a call after that. I think this portion will be short.
Okay. Ms. Honeycutt, can you please stand up and to the best of your ability, raise your right hand and you're going to be sworn in?
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide today in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
All right. You're going to need to bring her over here to the witness stand, please. And may we release Mr. Otto if he wishes to leave this inferno? You may leave. Thank you. By inferno, just talking about the heat in the courtroom. All right. Mr. Stroud.
Thank you. Ms. Heather, could you spell your last name for the record?
Honeycutt.
So Heather, I'm going to ask you some questions about your finances.
Okay.
Are you currently employed?
No,
Do you own your home?
no,
Have you ever owned your own home?
no,
Do you own any real estate?
no,
Do you currently have a bank account of any kind?
no,
Do you have a retirement account?
no,
Do you own any stocks or bonds?
no,
Do you receive any kind of government assistance?
While I was out of here, yes, I got food stamps and medical.
Medical meaning like Badger Care?
Yes.
What's the highest, now I'm talking about your whole working career, what's the highest hourly wage you've ever been paid?
Well, working at the Prime, I made $12 an hour plus tips. All of that together, I made a decent amount.
All right, and what did you do at the Prime?
I was a bartender,
And about roughly how many hours a week did you work?
30 to 40.
And was that consistent from week to week?
Yes,
And when did your employment at the Prime end?
a few years ago.
All right, so like 2023?
Yeah, that would be an estimate.
Okay. What's the most money you've ever made in a year?
I would say 15, 20,000.
And when would that have been approximately?
That would have been probably when I was working at the Prime.
All right. And then let's talk about education.
Okay.
The judge knows about your education. We talked about your education level at the hearing, the sentencing hearing, but let's just recap. Did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
Well,
Well, I got my HSED.
All right. And how old were you when you did that?
I was 17.
And then any schooling above that?
I did some college for culinary arts in Fond du Lac at Marine Park Technical College.
All right. And how long ago was that?
I was 25,
All right. Now, and how old are you now?
41.
All right. So about what, 16 years ago?
Yeah.
How many years did you attend the culinary
I
college?
was able to attend and finish one semester.
All right. Before working at Prime, what did you do for a living?
I did like waitressing. I've done a lot of restaurant work, waitressing, bartending, stuff like that.
All right. And at the time you were arrested in this case, were you employed?
No,
Were you receiving, were you on Badger Care at the time you were arrested?
Yeah.
Were you receiving food stamps at the time you were arrested?
yes,
Did you receive any rent assistance?
Um, During that time, no.
All right. Where were you living at the time? In
I
a
was living
rental?
in Spooner.
Okay. Was it in a rental or, all right, a friend's house?
No, it was a rental that I rented for 5 years,
All
6
right.
years,
All right. And how much was the rent?
$900 a month.
Did you have any other expenses?
I mean, your basic necessities and the electric was included.
And was that, tell me about your apartment. Was that like a house?
It was a
or-
house,
It was a house.
two-bedroom house.
Okay. And utilities were included. How much was your grocery bill every month?
I mean, I got $900 a month in food stamps, and we usually used it.
All right. And did you have a cell phone plan?
Yeah.
All right. And how much was that a month?
For 3 phones, it was $120 a month.
All right. And you had others in your household at that time. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
And who were they?
My ex, Justin, Path, and then my youngest daughter, Candace Martin, and then also my son, Ashton Martin.
And did Ashton work at that time?
No,
Did Candace work?
no,
Was Justin working?
No.
All right. And what were your day-to-day responsibilities at home?
cleaning, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids. I mean, they're not kids, they're teenagers. My son was an adult at the time.
Hmm. Do you own a car?
I don't know.
All right. Did anyone in the household own a car at that time?
Justin did.
All right. And then did he pay the insurance on that?
We didn't have insurance on it.
And did he pay for the fuel and stuff for the car?
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other sources of income that you have, like inheritance or annuity of some kind?
No,
Do you have any kind of savings at all whatsoever?
no.
Right. I don't have any more questions.
Mr. Schmidt?
Is there any medical reason you can't work full-time?
No.
When you worked at the Prime, was it full-time?
Yes.
And it's $12 an hour plus tips,
Yes.
but you're saying you only ever made 20,000 a year doing
I
that.
mean, that's an estimation. It could probably be more. I wouldn't be able to remember all the tips to be exact.
What would be like an average tips on, say, a summer weekend?
A summer weekend, I would make maybe 100 a night.
How about when it's less busy, like say winter?
Winter, it could be anywhere from 20 to $50.
Is there any reason you couldn't work more than full-time in a week?
No. There was a point that I did work 2 jobs. I worked at the Prime and then I also worked at Genio.
So you've worked factory jobs as well.
Yes,
How much did you make at Genio's?
17. And I did that for 6 months, but it ended up being too much, too hard to do.
Have you worked in any other fields of work other than factory or
A lot of it's
Restaurateuring.
customer service. Like I've done a lot, like working assistant manager at a Subway. I've done a lot of customer service jobs.
what did you make, say, assistant manager at Subway?
That was a long time ago, so it was only about $9, $10.
Okay. Do you have friends or family that help you out with financial issues?
Sometimes my parents do, yes.
Could you describe with more specificity what your parents have helped with?
They've helped with rent. For like example, back when I had left my kids' dad, they helped remove me from that situation and got me an apartment and a car. And helped me get stable until I was able to.
And do you think you could complete vocational trainings for better paying jobs?
Yes,
Is that something you would be interested in prison or on supervision?
yes. I'm even interested in going back to college.
No other questions.
Realistically, let's talk about your job prospects after, and I do not mean to demean you in any way with this, but realistically, coming out of prison with a felony conviction for theft, do you think you could get your assistant manager job at Subway?
No,
Do you think you'd make it through a background check at Jenny O?
no. I know that it's going to be very hard.
I don't have any more questions.
When you
Go ahead.
When you worked at Genio's, didn't you work with a lot of other Huber inmates from the Barron County Jail?
The part that I worked in, I had to get a background check. But in other parts, yeah, there was people that worked there that were
Yeah.
like Washburn County, Barron County.
No other questions.
Nothing.
All right, thank you. She is excused. Oops. There are no other witnesses, Mr. Stroud?
No.
So I will ask you, Mr. Stroud, if you prefer a written argument or an oral argument. If you want oral, as long as it's okay with Ms. Honeycutt, but I don't believe she would have the ability to necessarily oppose this, but you could appear by Zoom for the argument, or you can be here in person, or you can do writing. I'm okay with any of them.
Let me just ask Heather real quick.
Go ahead.
Judge, would we have time today to just argue it?
No. My staff and I have been sitting here since 1 o'clock. I am roasting, and it
Yeah.
would not be in your best benefit or interest.
I appreciate that. My preference would be to set an oral argument by Zoom. I appreciate that opportunity, and I think Ms. Honeycutt would be fine with that.
Are you okay with that, Ms. Honeycutt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I have July 14 open all day. Trial came off or something. Yeah, trial came off.
Would that be a fair turnaround time for a transcript?
No, it would not.
All right.
August 25th. You can come before Aaron Nilsson again if you wish. Anytime that day, other than at 3 and on.
Let me ask the court, do you think you would benefit from having the transcript done? I'm available both those days, but I think having a transcript might be good just because we're talking a couple months.
I'm gonna tell you. Well, I pretty much verbatim said what Aaron Nilsson said at his argument. Granted, that was only a few weeks ago or a week ago or all of that. I don't believe I need a transcript. I've taken almost a half notebook filled with notes. So I don't know if I would benefit.
All right. Well, let's do the 14th then. I'm not as memorable as Aaron Nelson is, so that's why I ask.
All right. Oh, you're very memorable, Mr. Stroud.
Oh, thanks.
14th of July. Okay, you choose time.
Let's do 8:30,
9.
9 o'clock.
I don't start until 9.
All right.
We have other things that go on before. All right, 9 o'clock. Now, realistically, and I'm asking realistically, how long will the arguments be?
You know me, I'm submitting a written one.
Okay, I guess he's gonna do a written argument, Mr. Stroud, so perhaps you might want to do that as well. I don't know, that's your call. I don't care. He's gonna make me read it anyway.
We all love reading. We're lawyers.
Oh, not everybody. I'd say set it for a half hour.
Okay, so you're gonna do written, you're gonna do oral.
Yeah, and I may just send a memo ahead of time just for the pieces of, just referencing different
I will
pieces.
not be giving a decision that day.
All right.
So if you want more time so you can write something bulkier, we can push it to another date. Or I can just give you dates to provide your written, because I'm gonna tell you, this will be a written decision.
Yeah.
And I get them out quickly.
Yeah.
So if you just want to tell me how long you need to do a response, I can give you guys dates. Because I guarantee you it'll be a written order.
Yeah, I would prefer oral argument on July 14th at 9 a.m. And
All
I
right,
think a half hour will do it.
setting it for an hour, just to be safe. All right, so 9 to 10, July 14th. Mr. Schmidt is indicating he will send a written. You can send a memo if you wish and bulk it up in oral words. That is great. Anything else?
No.
All right.